All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Alphabet Soup podcast. I know it's been a minute. It has been a little while, but I have been pressed for time. Seems I always have something going on now, but I guess that's what happens when you try to make a career out of something, or have goals, or want to do something extracurricular. You understand. So it's been a little bit, and we're back, and it hasn't changed. I didn't need a break. I know fucking internet people love to take breaks from the internet, which I think is healthy, but also, you're a fucking pussy. Your fucking internet break. Fuck, I've seen a lot of. I just had to take a break from YouTube. I'm just jealous because I can't take a break from normal work, and you get to take a break from a made up fake job. The made up fake job that I want and can't have because I don't know. I probably could have it if I don't know what goes into that. God, we live in a different world. But it's still the same. That's the crazy thing to me. Everything feels different, but it isn't. Were there fake made up jobs in the 60s and 70s? People have fake made up jobs. I'm sure people said that about, like, fucking, I don't know, journalists. Their job was fake and made up. That they just got to run around and talk to people for a living, and then they get to write their dumb little stories. Only 300, 400, 1,000 word stories, and they get paid to report BS. I'm sure it was the same shit. Uh, Fake made up jobs. I don't know. I wonder, I look at the 60s and the 70s, really that Cold War, Vietnam, civil rights, counterculture, Bob Dylan era. It's kind of, it's like oddly fascinating in recent history, American history especially. I think because it marks the actual turn of culture. Like, we all know that culture is fluid, and it goes and it goes and it changes, and it flows, and that it can't just be stopped and started. It's not a light bulb. It can't be turned on and off. And you have clear ideas of what, like, an era looks like. You definitely have an idea of how people dressed in the 50s, what their hair looked like, what women wore, what men wore. You have an idea. And then you move to the 60s, and it changes a little bit. And 60s is an especially weird time because I think it fits a lot of the 50s characteristics, like suits, ties, polos, slacks. And it also looks like today, where it's fucking t-shirts and um, yeah, military Vietnam army jackets and jeans with fucking flowers painted on them and headbands. And then you move into the 70s, and it's like the two came together. And you have a clear idea of the 70s with tight pants and bell bottoms and crazy designs on button up shirts and big collars and afros. And you can see it. You think about disco, and then you move to the 80s, and you can see neon fishnet leggings and teased hair and flock of seagulls and uh, geometric patterns on anything, burger phone. You have this clear idea, but what's always been interesting to me, especially from, like, say, the 80s to the 90s, I've always wondered when it comes to the visual representations of culture, fashion, style, um, where where those changes take place. It's not like you went from, you know 1999 to 2000 and everything just changed. Like Y2K didn't do anything. It didn't even hit what everybody thought it was going to. Uh, there's no clear indication for any era when you move from 1989 to 1990 where these changes took place. I've always wondered if those changes slowly start towards the end of, say, the 80s, and then by the start of the 90s, we have this new fashion, this new cultural changes. It's hard to pinpoint. Did it happen later in the 90s? Did we get to 1995 and that's really where our idea of the 90s were? But there were still some remnants of the 80s within the 90s. And to be honest, it's probably both. Little because that's how culture works. It can't actually be measured by 10 years of time. Little things start happening at any given point and it starts to shift culture and it starts to change culture, and there's a little bit of a difference every so often. Something happens and it shifts a little bit of the culture, and it just takes time for all of those things to change so completely that you have your new idea of the 80s, of the 90s, of the 2000s, of the 10s, of the 20s. I think another really interesting thing for us right now is that we're living in uh, I myself I'm 23, which I know to a lot of people is young, but can you knock that shit off? Can you knock that? Oh my god, you're a baby. I understand. I have a lot to learn. I get it. I get it, dude. Jesus Christ, with the fucking just you don't know anything, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot to learn, and I've learned a lot over 23 years. Can you stop discounting what I have learned? Because when you discount what I have learned, it makes learning anything else in the future feel fucking pointless. Am I gonna get to 30 and 50-year-olds are gonna be like, you're so young? Still, am I gonna get to 40 and 60-year-olds are like, oh, to be back at 40? Am I gonna get to 60 and fucking 80-year-olds are like, I remember being so spry. Fuck off. Oh, it's a ridiculous concept. The time at all has an effect on anything since time's made up. Time is a made up thing. Time's made up, and some people have experiences faster than other people, and some people never experience anything until later in life. And a 56-year-old might be learning something that a 23-year-old knew just by chance, just by chance. Or something might have just happened to have happened earlier in a young person's life than an older person's life, but they learn the same thing on the same day at the same time, and just shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. With the young shit and the old shit, and let's create divisions, and oh my god. And that's really, really where I find interest in the counterculture era of the 60s and 70s and the Cold War. And what I was referencing earlier with the marking of a change and how it's hard to kind of pinpoint that down for anything else today. I think it's hard to like you don't know where the 80s stop and the 90s start. But with the late 60s and into the 70s with Vietnam, and prior to in America itself, prior to this, not too far before, we had the civil rights movement and Jim Crow era, and that was a giant forced change. Not saying it shouldn't have been forced. Glad it was, but it was fought for. It was marched for. It was heavily advertised. And I don't mean advertised in the like, buy our new Big Mac meal. I mean advertised in like word of mouth. The media, journalism were all huge parts of putting that into people's living rooms so that they could see it. And it was heavily advertised. It was shown. It was a thing that we all saw as Americans because of places like Selma. We had this just before the Vietnam era. So we had seen a group of people, black people especially, fight for something and see a change, see an end to oppression. Not that it's all completely gone. I don't want to I'm not even discussing that this episode. But it was the end of straight up like a ton of laws that were stopping black people from doing things like voting and forcing them to not be able to eat at restaurants or stay at certain hotel like and it was just like no you need to stop this shit. And I think it was the first time for many Americans that it was like you could go against the grain and win. You could fight for something and it could be changed, which is kind of what the country's based on when it comes to taxes from England and how we literally fought them. We had a war. We had an actual war with them because it was fucking ridiculous. Blah, fucking taxes, freedom. So the country's based on going against the grain, fighting back, and winning. And then the people, black people in through the 40s, 50s, 60s, got fed up with the shit that they had to deal with because it was unfair and marched and protested and did a lot of non-violent uh, protests and things and won and came out on top. They made a change that you could mark and see and feel. They did what they wanted to do, and really the only other time that this had happened for anything was kind of the Civil War in American history. Well, and the thing with the Civil War is that, at least the way it's portrayed, that the South was unhappy with the North, went against the grain, and fucking lost. They fucking lost, which they were pegged to win. It was an upset. My bracket, when I went to shit at that point, I mean, I had my money on the South and all the battles that they had won. I was looking good. It was March as 1911 madness. It was wild. They went against the grain and they lost. It's really the only other time that something like this could have been marked. So not only was that a long time ago, which makes the civil rights movement the most recent, or at the time for the 60s and 70s, the most recent and apparent cultural shift, and showing Americans, especially young Americans, children that grew up in that time, that they could have an opinion, do something about it, and be vindicated and right and make a change and accomplish what they set out to do. I don't think we had seen it really at all before, unless you count kicking England's ass. Fuck your tea, bro. Fuck your tea. So when it gets to Vietnam and the 60s and the 70s and the Cold War, I think we also have to address World War II. Because I think World War II, and this is something that's so fascinating to me about World War II, we had this image of our soldiers, of these American heroes in a brotherhood of greatness, kicking oppressors' asses, taking down entire armies, the strongest army in the world with the scariest goal of complete domination. And we fucking loved these people. These World War II vets, that classic picture of a soldier coming home to New York and he's kissing his girl and she's got her leg up, and oh, they're gonna go to the fucking drugstore and get a get a root beer float from the soda jerk behind the fucking counter, and it's just beautiful, and it makes you feel this fucking pride in your country. You kicked the Nazis' fucking asses. You're fucking heroes. You were in the Battle of the Bulge. Oh my God, you're a fucking superhero. You were with this company. We loved them. They came home. We had fucking parties in the streets and confetti and fucking streamers. And just, they were cool. They were awesome. They were heroes. And then something happened. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But by Vietnam, we were fucking throwing pig's blood on these people that thought that they were doing the right thing. We were fucking throwing paint on them, getting off of buses, throwing shit at them, giving them shit for going over to a country they didn't belong in and killing those fucking kids, man. And we had a shift. Something happened. I think more of it had to do with the enemy than it had to do with us. I think the Nazis, and the great thing about the Nazis, which is a wild fucking thing to say, the great thing about the Nazis, the only great thing, because they're a terrible fucking group, that is not a fucking bold statement. I hate Nazis. Well, you're different. The only great thing about the Nazis is that they fit, at least to me, the only definition of true evil. They fit this fucking journey of a hero, like black and white, this is good and this is bad, so fucking perfectly. There is no moral room to like humanize Nazis. You're not gonna make Thanos out of the Nazis. You tried. You tried with Thanos because he was like, let's kill half the world. You know, he wanted genocide, but it's not genocide because he didn't care what half. You can't, there's no room to humanize Nazis. Kind of. The only little bit of like, now we gotta address it, was the Nuremberg trials. And like, I was just a boy in Germany, and I thought these people were heroes because of propaganda, and I was told what to do, and I did it because I thought I was doing the right thing, and we were like, fuck you, you're dead, go to jail. No, that's not how this works. And this instance, the Nuremberg trials, this moral, this thought that humans are in control of their own actions and can say no to higher authority, was so heavily debated and talked about, and it was the only little room for Nazis to get some humanization. Otherwise, it's complete and total evil. And I got no fucking like, oh my God, I have no problem with killing Nazis. They're Nazis. Fuck Nazis. Fuck them. They're so evil. Putting people in camp, like they didn't even just kill people. They put them in camps and made them work for literally nothing. They didn't even feed them. They just, ooh, Nazis were so awful. And there is no way, and I agree, there's no way to be a Nazi soldier. I don't care how much propaganda. There's no way you see those fucking skeleton Jews walking around in a camp and not go, maybe we aren't the good guys. There's no fucking way. You don't feel or think that once. The images are so horrifying today with all the desensitization we talk about with media. Those pictures are still jarring of these Jewish people and what the fuck they did to them. And there's no way, even as a brainwashed Hitler youth, there's no way you don't look at that and go, and there's not even once a little bit go, ugh. I don't know. Are they that evil? Do they deserve that? Even if they are evil, do they deserve this? Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Like, there's no way you don't feel that a little bit. And we did psychological tests on it, where we had somebody in a lab coat just give instructions to shock a person with a heart condition and see if people would do it. And they would absolutely do it. And they would feel cognitive dissonance. And they would still fucking do it because somebody was wearing a lab coat. And I think more than showing that we have control over our own actions, it shows that we're just fucking dumb. Just humans are dumb and will listen to anybody in authority or that looks like they're in authority. And there's this weird, I don't know if it's primal idea of hierarchies. And it's just natural. Like natural born leaders is a fucking phrase that you'll hear a lot. Natural born, whatever, natural born leaders. We just have this idea of like who should be empowered by the way they talk and hold themselves and act, but it doesn't actually fucking mean anything. You can just get good at doing that. So there was this little room of do we know what we're doing? Is it our fault if we were brainwashed and there was propaganda? Like, are we responsible, or should it be the higher ups, or maybe only kill the big Nazis, leave the soldiers alone? And we were like, fuck no, you all fucking put them in the goddamn oven and burn down all of Belarus. And I highly doubt, and this was a thing that came from watching the movie Come and See. It's a Russian film about what the Nazis did to Belarus. And the way that they depict it is just these Nazis committing fucking terrible, terrible war crimes, and like it's a party, like drinking and just taking stuff and like having a good time with each other. These fucking Nazis and burning down an entire village with the people inside the buildings. Like 630 villages were burnt down with the people in the village by the Nazis in Belarus, and they're just like having a good time. That's how they're depicted in the movie. I'm not a historian, so maybe, they were just marching and doing their job, but I highly fucking doubt it. I have a feeling that they were fucking having fun. They were partying. They were frat boying it up in Belarus, burning down villages. And I'm sure they were doing that everywhere. I'm sure this was not like some totalitarian, like it didn't feel like a totalitarian regime that was oppressing them. It felt like I'm sure that the Nazis, the actual soldiers, when they were away in other countries and just fucking dominating them, felt like they were on top of the world and they could do anything and they didn't have to live by the rules that were set at home, like no cocaine. So they were having a good fucking time. So yeah, we should have fucking, hunt these fuckers down that are living in Yonkers. Just hilarious and ironic. Absolutely. But there was an idea. There was a little idea of like, is it their fault? That crept its way in. It was mentioned and it sat in everybody's psyches for a while. And other than that, the way the Nazis were, other than that little bit, it's just pure evil. It fits our idea of evil, the devil, like Christian evil, even. Everybody's version of evil, the Nazis fit so well. So fucking taking those bitches to task, murdering them, laying them out, bombing their fucking country, killing as many as you could, taking the fucking flags, fucking kill Hitler. Like, they were just so evil that no one was opposing it while the war was happening. Not a single American was like, I don't know if we should be doing this. They were so scary and so evil. And that's the thing. That's the thing that really gets me. We didn't even know about the fucking internment camps and death camps and gassings and just all the shit they were doing to Jewish people until we got there. Like, until the war was pretty much over with Germany. Obviously, Japan was still kicking it. We had a fucking, we had a, you know what I mean? We had a dropping on them twice. They wouldn't give up. And now we got Miyazaki films, so that's another win for America. That's anime's fucking awesome, and it's thanks to Fat Man and Little Boy. Thanks to those two bombs, Fat Boy Slim. Now we have anime. Um, so the Nazis were evil. And we didn't even know how evil they were until we got there. So we just had like no issue with fucking killing these people. No one was like, pull out of this war. We shouldn't be there. We're not the world's police. No one was saying that because these people were not only powerful, but straight up evil. They fit the idea of evil so well that no one was arguing to not have them slaughtered. They were evil. The Nazis bad. So, our veterans, the people that stopped these people, that stopped the Nazis, are fucking heroes. Then you had the bombing in Japan. We've lit them up. And I think, had this not been like a big win for America, for the fact that we stopped a totalitarian regime, I think that kind of set in motion the dominoes fell. It set these dominoes off in people because nuclear war is so effective. It's the most effective and just indiscriminate in its killing and terrifying. Everything about it was just, it turns your stomach. Even the Japan and Axis that agreed they were Nazi sympathizers and fighting with the Nazis and wanted to take America down and bombed us first at Pearl Harbor and really fucking got us in there. That's another thing about America too. Like our fucking vets were heroes and we kicked the Nazis' ass and nobody was like, don't do that. It also took us maybe a little too long to get in there. Like, England was getting fucking railed by the Nazis, by the Germans in general, World War One and Two. They were getting fucking railed by Germans, and we were like, "Yeah, I'll figure it out." Until we got bombed by Japan, and then we're like, "Well, and then we bombed them pretty bad. We bombed them pretty. You know what I mean? Whew. Nuclear war. Was it necessary to do that to Japan? I don't know. Am I going to apologize for it? Fuck no, because I'm an American. And these motherfuckers were like, no, we're not going down without a fight. And we were just like, you bombed us first, so we're going to take it to you. And then we dropped 2 nukes on them, and they were like, we're sorry. And it's just devastating to look at. All the test footage of nuclear towns that they built in like Nevada's desert, just miles and miles and miles and miles away from any civilization. These test houses that they built, and then they drop a nuke. And these are on film, and you can watch them, and it's really interesting and just cool to watch. But to see the immense power that those had, and then to like use it on real people in real cities, I think, it ended the war and everybody was happy because this was a giant war that was very, a lot of death. It was very important to stop this. What was gearing up and looking like it was going to be a superpower that took over the world and enslaved everyone. That's what it looked like. So we stopped them and it was a big win and everybody's happy. And Japan's like, no, we're not going down with a fight. And we're like, well, fucking here you go. And then we stopped that and we straight up ended the war and everybody pulled out and we go home and everybody's happy. And I think it took a little time, but later on, I think Americans started to feel that, like, Jesus, those bombs though, dude. Like, I know we won, but those fucking bombs, guys, what the fuck? Did you see that shit? 3 seconds, there was nothing left. You could destroy the entire world. And that's where the Cold War comes in. these, I think we kind of only have ourselves to blame, and I'm not letting Russia off the hook. Fuck Russia too. Fuck them right now. Fuck Russia. I, I, I'm still a goddamn American. We could still take it to these Ruskies, and I gotta admit, you know, Russia, they seem like they have an insane dictator that might just drop nukes at any point, which he hasn't yet, which is kind of wild. Something's got to be going on, because I feel like this motherfucker would just be like, just fucking nuke it. But maybe that's propaganda. I don't know. Still, he's fucking insane. I believe that, even if he's not what we fucking paint him to be. I still don't, like, he's clearly a fucking dictator in a democracy. He's still out of his fucking mind. And we can fucking take it to these Ruskies. I'm not as scared as I once was of Russia after Ukraine. Like, they should have fucking rolled Ukraine. They should have fucking rolled them, right? Like, it's Russia. They're a fucking superpower. They're our biggest, scariest enemy. And they were like, we're going to take it. And everybody was like, fuck, dude, they're about to take it. And fucking Ukraine was like, no. They still haven't fucking taken it. What the fuck? Russia sucks. They're fucking pussies, bro. They couldn't fucking take Ukraine. Like, that should have been a fucking win. That should have been easy for them. Don't they have fucking lasers and shit? Like, it seemed like it was just gonna be a fucking massacre, and fucking Ukraine was like the quiet kid, and this bully walked over to him, pushed him, and then the quiet kid fucking busted out some goddamn martial arts shit he's been learning in his goddamn garage and just kicked the shit out of the bully. Just started fucking him up. No one was ready for Ukraine to just fucking not lay down and take it. Fucking Russia's pussies. They're fucking, we could take it to these Ruskies. They're fucking pussies. They're not doing shit, bro. They're not doing shit. And maybe, I mean, they have the nukes and EMPs, so they still have this backup arsenal that could, like, change the tides. But, like, look at these dumb fucking vodka commies. Fucking, we could fucking take it to them. No, I'm not as scared as I once was. Which, maybe I should be, but fucking, hell no, I'm an American. I'm a goddamn American. Fuck these goddamn Russians. Not the Russian people, because they're being oppressed. But the military and the government can fuck those commies. This is also not a bold statement, but I guess that just comes with the territory about talking about geopolitical bullshit. The Cold War, which started all this, I don't think we have anybody else to blame but ourselves, because we demonstrated to the world, that you could just use nukes, and we demonstrated the fucking power of them. There was a big race to nuclear stockpiling in both the US and Germany, and a little bit of Russia, because they got in there too. During World War II, we had, all the scientists and spies in the Manhattan Project, and, Bratz was a product of Barbie. They just used the same blueprints from Barbie with, all this shit was getting leaked. So we had these scientists, like this German scientist, is he a spy? This American scientist, is he a spy? We had spies everywhere, fucking in these bunkers, building the ultimate weapon of death and destruction. But the only people that use them to date are us. And I think showing people just how fucking good at their jobs nukes are, that led to Russia being like, yo, guys, I know that we sided with the Nazis for a little bit, and then Stalin was like, you know what, Hitler, you're just kind of mean. And then we went to war with them, and we fought with the Americans, but we still don't really like the Americans. But if this shit ever goes down again, I think we need a fucking backup plan. And so they started stockpiling, and America was like, yo, what the fuck is going on over there? And we started stockpiling, and then we were like, yo, chill. And Russia was like, no, fuck you. And we were like, yo, who are you talking to? Who saved you? And Russia was like, well, you did not need saving, because they're proud people too. And America was like, do you hear this shit? I'll fucking blow you up. And we both, Russia and America were both, you blow me up, I blow you up. Ugh. And we became big men. We became big men. And we were like, you fucking, my dad will kick your dad's ass. That's what the next nuke that we drop should be called. It should be called My Dad. Because my dad's gonna kick your dad's ass. Um, and we started the Cold War. And Russia started doing shit to their people, and then, getting really, 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 becoming these big commies, doing shit to their own people, building fucking walls and shit. Uh, you know, and they started kind of looking like the Nazis, and we didn't like that shit. And now they're Nazis with actual fucking nukes. And, they're like, look at your fucking Nazis. So we're just bitching back and forth with each other because we've seen the destruction of nuclear war, and we don't want it to get to that. So we're just, taking passive aggressive jabs at each other, us and Russia, and it's just getting kind of heated, and everybody's like a little nervous because these two superpowers have fucking nuclear bombs that are clearly devastating. And then, fucking Russia was getting the shits of it. Russia was like, you know what, dude? Oh, fuck yeah. And moved their fucking nukes to Cuba. Became friends with Castro and was like, yo, let's put it. That's who it is, right? That was Cuba? I don't know, all these fucking Latin countries and their goddamn dictators too. Yeah, whatever. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. They moved their missiles to Cuba, very close to us. These nukes, they were like, just sat them there, like, put the gun on the table. We're like, yeah, fuck around and find out. Like, speak softly and carry a big stick type shit. But it was so close, and we were like, yo, nah, dude. And what is going on? Move the fucking clock hands. This has got to go. And we had the issues with the Bay of Pigs in Cuba then, and trying to kill Castro, and we pissed him off, so he was like, yeah, move your nukes here. Ooh, and Russia, thank you. And and we had all this shit going on, and I think it left a lot of people angry. And like, I think when you're in that kind of state of mind where you're just waiting for your fucking world to end, if you're beat down with it for long enough, you kind of like want it to just happen already. So I think we had that frustration built into us as American people. And at the same time, we had the civil rights movement going on too. So not only are like nukes looking at us, like with 1963 when Kennedy died, not only do we have like Russia kind of breathing on our necks to our fronts here at home in the States domestically, shit wasn't going great either. We had a lot of angry people thinking that, black people are still lesser and should be treated like, by law, treated as such. And we had black people that are like, can't we just like live? Can't we just have rights? Jesus. And we had all these angry people, and then you have on the outside of that, like on the outside of the bubble, pressing in on the bubble. Inside the bubble is fucking chaos, but pressing on the outside of the bubble, almost popping it, is Russia. So we have all of this going on at one time, and I think it's kind of making America a little stir crazy and nervous and panicky and neurotic. We're all just feeling it as American people. I think it's just a feeling that we probably had with all this shit that was going on. And then we started talking about the dominoes falling in Vietnam and how we were like, we got to go there and stop this. The Viet Cong. We were all like, who? And they were like, the Viet Cong. They're going to turn Vietnam into a communist society. You guys hate communism, right? And America was like, do we? The government was like, yeah, you do. And everybody was like, okay, we hate communism. And to be fair, I do hate communism. It doesn't work. They have no food. I'm fat. I like food. Fuck communism. That's not the only reason. Obviously, The freedoms that democracy afford us as American people are with things like um, business, free, open market business, and um, competition allows us to be the best version of ourselves that we can be in this country, and you wouldn't find it anywhere else. The whole thing. There you go. I don't like communism. I don't think it works. I don't think it's good. I don't like it. Um, communism bad. However, I don't think any of us were like really on to it yet. I guess that's not true because we had talked about it so much with Russia and we had made Russia these bad people. And what really started happening with this was proxy wars. I mean, I'll give the Nazis this little bit. At least they fucking did it themselves. I don't know how many wars we've gone to, like how many little battles and dumb shit we've gone to fight because of Russia. Like, while the Nazis were just this hulking big bully that wanted to steamroll an entire world, Russia is a manipulator that gets these little tiny countries on their side and is like, hey, why don't you piss America off? Wouldn't that make you guys happy? And then they piss us off and we go and then we kill them because of Russia, because we're trying to stop Russia. Like, Russia's doing this shit that we don't like, so we're trying to stop them. And we're just not fighting them literally, but they're proxy wars. So we're not fighting actual fucking. And that's what Vietnam was. And Vietnam shows up. We're anxious. We're angry. We got a lot of shit going on at home. We've got all the shit going on outside of the domestic issues in the country. We just kicked the Nazis' ass 20 years ago. We're fighting with each other, and now we're gonna go kill an entire country of small Asian people that we didn't even, that just kind of like, well, who the fuck are they? What's going on? Russia, what do they have to do with this Asian country? Cuba, what do they have to do? What do they have to do with Russia? What, the Viet Cong? Okay, Vietnamese, they want communism. They want communism. They're being, okay, we need to stop it because the dominoes will fall. All right, there's another draft. Oh, it's that bad, huh? And we sent all these people. We sent all these children to Vietnam to go kill these Vietnamese people that didn't even like try. Like, that's the thing with World War II. We got bombed. We got actually attacked. Our people, our soldiers in Hawaii died. We had people at Pearl Harbor that died, and we were like, no, fuck this. We're going to war. But Vietnam was just like, hey, they're acting in a way that we don't agree with. We're gonna go stop it. Which I think it's this kind of start of people being like, why are we the world's police? So we go over to this tiny Asian country because of China and Russia and I think. I don't know how much China had to do with Vietnam. They're so close. They had to do something. They had to, right? Let me look that up. Fuck that. But, we're fighting fucking proxy wars for Russia, against Russia. And I think people were just kind of like, okay, we're going. And we tried to do the thing again where we're like, hey, America, remember how great our soldiers are, how great we are as Americans, and how much fucking ass we kick? Remember that? We're fucking doing it again. We're saving the world. And that little bit of like, but like, are they responsible? Should we be doing this? Should we? We should challenge authority. So should we be in this country? Should we be having this war? Should we? Is this? What's this? What's this? What's this go against the grain and win? Why are we doing this? Why are we in this war? Are people being funded by it? Are we making lots of money off of war? Are we just there because we're pissed off and having a dick measuring contest with another country? What's going on? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit of like, what are we doing? And it grew. And it grew. And then Bob Dylan came along and started singing about how angry people were. And fucking pussy. Fucking fuck Bob Dylan. I don't mean that, but I'm not his biggest fan. We just, we had little smatterings of like, ooh, ooh, what's this? What's this idea that you can push against authority? That maybe we shouldn't be there. Maybe war is bad. Remember that thing we did? We're gonna do it again where we drop nukes on a fucking small Asian country? Are we gonna do that again? Because that was awful and terrifying and horrifying. And maybe we shouldn't be having war. Maybe war is bad, man. And war. Wait, what's this thing about drugs? Wait, drugs are cool. Well, let's do drugs. We're not supposed to do drugs. We're gonna do them more now. Because fuck you, we're pushing back. We're pushing. It doesn't just stop with the war. We're pushing back on everything. You fucking. We saw what could happen. Black people did it, and they got quantifiable outcomes, and they accomplished goals, and they're living in a better world. And we're gonna do it too because we're mad. We're gonna do it because we don't like war. War's not good. Look what happened. Look what happened the last time we had a big fucking war. We destroyed an entire country. Not really 2 cities, but we fucking broke those people. We broke them. Long gone were the days of strong samurais that would fucking commit seppuku for not being able to protect their master. It was long gone were those. We put those people into a cave. We sent them back. Look what happened the last time we had a big ass war. We beat this giant superpower, but at what cost? So we're doing it with everything. We don't like anything you're doing. We don't like anything the government's doing. We don't like our government. We don't like them. We don't think they're right because we're the people and we know better. And we want to get back to a time when the American people were heroes because they were soldiers and America lived together in togetherness, and we weren't making money off of wars, which we probably were. I mean, fucking, there's money to be made. It's gonna get made. That's the American way. So we have counterculture start. We had starts, and we push back against fucking everything. Starting really with the civil rights movement, and then moving into Vietnam, and that we shouldn't be there. And you had fucking, classic CCR playing Fortunate Son, which fucking the story goes, I think it was Fogarty that he gotten, a letter in the mail that he was going to get drafted or something, and he was on the edge of his bed and he just started singing the song out of nowhere because he was so angry. And then we lost that war. That's the other thing about Vietnam. We lost. And I know, I've been saying I'm an American, and I am, and I believe in this country, and I also believe we fucking lost that war. We lost in Vietnam. They kicked our fucking asses. We didn't know what the fuck was going on. We were used to these white-ass countries. We were used to fucking these streets and buildings and urban warfare at this point. We didn't know what the fuck was in that jungle. And we got our asses handed to us. And when you lose, and the way it's always been presented when you lose is that you were the bad guy. So we had to deal with that too. So we just started pushing back. When we started pushing back on everything, and that's where you mark the change in culture, in this shift with race and being able to say no to war and that we shouldn't be the world's police or we should be doing better at home. You mark this shift from the amazing fucking band of brothers, World War II soldiers, which that fucking idea of how awesome those people were and how great those men are is still withheld. That's still upheld in our culture today, to this day, to 2022. We're still like fucking heroes. Like, that's still a thing. So we go from that and we just mark this shift to like, these soldiers are bad. We're doing bad things. We're not good anymore. America sucks. You can like see it. You can mark it. It's quantifiable. People started revolting. And I think that's where a lot of the shit that we deal with now started. And it's kind of upsetting. Like, I think counterculture is woke culture. Not now. I actually think that anti-counterculture now is counterculture, which is an oxymoron. But I think the culture's kind of shifted so much to acceptance and love and never feeling bad that what used to be the culture is now the counterculture, which is like fucking Republicans. And not really. It's not even Republicans. It's just rational people, which I'm not Worked myself into a hole here. Neither Democrats or Republicans are rational people. Anybody that votes straight ticket is not rational. You're not fucking rational people. If you don't actually know what the fuck is going on with your candidates in your country, you're not rational. You're not a rational person. Either of those parties, if they're just like, yes, my party, it has to be this way, that is irrational for either of them. Counterculture is being rational now, I think. I think that's what counterculture is today, is to just, like, we can't just accept things anymore. We can't just be like, that's just the way it is. Everybody's got to be like, no, you gotta fucking change it. And I think that's true with a lot of things, like police brutality, the police system in general, and just how militarized it is, and all these fucking riot SWAT teams that have thrown gas into the streets of their own fucking country. I think that needs to be changed. Do I think that I shouldn't be allowed to say, I think people that believe in astrology are, they have no personality, they don't know what to do with themselves, so they put their feelings into a pseudo fucking religion, which religion's already a pseudoscience, so it's a pseudoscience, making it a normal science? I don't fucking know. But I can't say that, like, now we have to change that. I can't just be like, fuck astrology. We have to change literally everything. Like, you can't do that anymore. I'm changing culture and history right now. That's what I'm doing by telling you you can't just say that. You can't do this. You can't do that. And guess what you kind of look like? Nazis. You can't do this, you can't do that. Censorship and art. Let's change art. Take away all these drugs. It's exactly what Nazi Germany did. They took away cocaine and art. They took away cocaine and art so that they could brainwash people. And, the most woke fucking let's change culture right now. Don't ever say these things again. Don't ever challenge people on their thoughts and beliefs because it makes them uncomfortable. That whole fucking idea spawned from counterculture in the 60s and 70s. That's where this fucking started, where people started fighting with each other, just together. Like, that's where I feel like it really fucking started. Now, it was about a war. We should stop a war, which is a completely debatable topic that I think people should have talks about. Should we be doing a war? Should we stop it? I think we should stop it. Let's fight for stopping it. It's fucking reasonable. Let's fight about who's allowed to say what on Twitter is fucking irrational. But we've come so far. We've done so much because of things like counterculture that it's kind of just latching on to shit because we all want to have our moment in history. We all want to be either the World War II fucking soldier heroes that everybody loved and worshipped when they came home, or we want to be the people that ended a fucking war and changed the culture. We all want to have our moment in the sunlight. And I think because of counterculture and drugs and just all this shit, it was just like, it's okay to rebel and be different. And it is, and it's necessary to a culture, to a society, I should say, that is necessary to checks and balances, to check the people in power with your ideas and thoughts. I think it's absolutely necessary. We're not checking those people, though. We're fighting about fucking politics. Politics needs a check. Not the people that we're voting for. The entire system needs a fucking check. It needs to get checked. Not fucking Andrew Tate. Just don't listen. Just stop. Who fucking cares? This is what I don't understand. If any man in your real life, to your face, to you personally, was like, you should hit women, you'd be like, don't talk to that guy. Just don't, And social Darwinism would latch on and he would become a fucking outcast and people would barely talk to him and he would feel it and he would fucking leave eventually and it would work. That's what would happen. But because you can just talk about it all the time, we're also fucking angry about this dude that's promoting violence against women. If you just shut the fuck up and let social Darwinism do its goddamn thing and just work him out of the system because he's insane, we wouldn't be having fucking problems with him. But counterculture did so much that we can't just let shit go. We can't just let shit go. It's been about an hour. I'm really worked up. I guess this was kind of a history lesson. Let me say this, I'm not a historian. So take what I had to say with a grain of salt. They're just thoughts. It's just stuff I've been thinking about because I've been listening to CCR. Actually, I found out I'm one of their top listeners on Spotify. That was pretty wild. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. I think the takeaways for this episode are just let social Darwinism do its thing. Shut the fuck up. And fucking respect your vets, okay? Like, we should respect these people. If people sign up, and they all sign up now, there is no draft at the moment. Can't believe I have to say at the moment. Fuck me. We should respect these people. They got a little fucking wild there. I'm not gonna front. Some vets get a little fucking, like, they kind of expect it. You know what I mean? They kind of, like, we worship these World War II people so much, and then we hated Vietnam vets so much, that, and they've gone through both of these things, that veterans now kind of come back, and they expect the fucking 20% off in every store, and they expect to be like fucking heroes, and it just doesn't happen, and that's kind of the world you live in. And to a point, I agree with them. To a point, this is kind of a weird, this is going to sound like an odd concept, but sometimes you feel entitled to certain things. I think we all feel entitled to things. I think we all feel that. I think we should all be like, we should fucking get that for free. I think it's whether or not you act on that makes a difference between people. Like, I've definitely done comedy shows where I'm like, why the fuck am I not just getting drinks? Why can't I just have fucking drinks for free? I'm here doing a show. It's a fun night. You're not gonna lose money because I had a few drinks on your tab, whatever bar or club. But they're like, no, you get one or you don't get any at all, and you're like, why the fuck can't I just have it? Like, I'm here. I don't fucking do anything about it because that's how the business is run. I'm there to do a show. It's not the fucking point of me being there. I'm not gonna fucking yell at a waitress. I'm not gonna fucking yell at somebody because I can't just have Diet Coke. That's fucking ridiculous. That's what makes you an entitled person. But I felt like I should be able to just have Diet Coke. With vets, they kind of got a little fucking like entitled and started, yelling about it a lot. And I kind of, like, to a degree, I think it's kind of true. Like, these people did what they thought was right. They put their life on the line. We could kick them a little something. They're at least to them, protecting, when they signed up, they thought they were protecting American freedom, which sometimes they are, and sometimes it's for oil. Sometimes it's that. Which is fucking nuts, and it's just muddied the waters more when it comes to war. Ugh. But I do think, and I definitely think that the government treats vets, since they were fucking working for them, is terrible. The VA is awful. It doesn't work. They don't get shit. We have homeless, heroin addict fucking vets still, and that was happening in the 70s too. It's just crazy. There's the way that we treat them is fucking awful. And these are fucking heroes. I'm not afraid. I don't feel bad about fucking, I don't feel bad about calling our fucking vets heroes to us. God damn it, they deserve some fucking respect. They did go to war. Even if it was for someone else, they still fucking went. And they still fucking did what they thought was right. But was it right, though? Do they have responsibility over their own fucking actions? Do they fucking, should we be sending them to jail and hunting Nazis down? Or are we doing the same thing? Are they in control of their own actions? Or are they responsible for maybe killing an innocent brown person in the Middle East? Or is that the government? Or should we blame it all on the government and the rich? I don't know. It's still there. It's still there, guys. That little fucking, it's still there. It's still fucking embedded in us. That's, what war's gotten really muddy. It's gotten really, are we doing the right thing? Is it for oil, weapons of mass destruction? Why are we invading these countries? Still, I think the people that go to war and do help and set up very important things for other countries deserve some goddamn respect. So respect your fucking vets. Please. Do something for them. Fucking help these people. They deserve it. They're getting blown up by IEDs. I know we're in a fucking country that maybe we shouldn't be in, but fucking ISIS is real. That's what I'm going to title this episode. ISIS is real. Like, they're killing their own people, and we were like, no, stop. And maybe we shouldn't be the world's police, and we shouldn't be dealing with other people's issues, but, like, we kind of fucking... These people deserve a right to live. And it was the same thing in Vietnam. And the soldiers were fighting for our freedoms and the freedoms of other people. The idea that we can provide you with the same opportunities we have that we created. And those people that think that and go to war for it and fight for it should be fucking respected. At least a little. I'm not saying they should get 100% off everything, because that would destroy the country. We'd all go to fucking war. And maybe we should do things isn't it Israel that sends everybody has to go into the military for 2 years? Maybe we should do stuff like that. Because we should respect these people that choose to try and save and preserve these ideas of freedom. Respect them, please. Stop fucking putting all this shit on the vets. Don't throw the pig's blood on them. They're not the ones that need checked. In closing, I'm going to give shout-outs now. I want to thank Tyler Weger for having me on his podcast just the other week. That was the Pink Hoodie podcast. That's out now. You can listen to it on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find podcasts. You can listen to that. It's called Technical Difficulties with Andrew Brooks. That's our episode, so I'd like to give a shout-out to him. Go listen to his podcast. Pink Hoodie's great. And then I think that's the only other podcast I've been on since the last one. I did Evan Ho's podcast again, the Yoho podcast. Go make sure you listen to that. I say some incel shit, so that's pretty fun. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. If you listen the whole way through, this is a long one. It's an hour. I appreciate it. Have a fucking great rest of your day. Bye.